Hey, Jamil.
Hi, how are you?
I am great. I am great. You doing great?
Yes, I am. I have no complaints.
You're looking beautiful
Definitely blessed.
today.
Thank you. That quarantine skin,
I know, right? We're not going anywhere. We're not doing our hair. Like, actually,
right?
I think I'm going to grow a mohawk. Like,
Hey,
because I
yes,
can't get a
love
haircut,
it.
right? Maybe by this
Mm-hmm.
point, I can make a ponytail on the top of my head.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, what are you doing, mom? But who's going to get their hair cut? I've tried and I've
I
had
know.
cutting my hair in the family. Whatever. I don't really care anymore, right? Right. But it's Black
Exactly.
History Month. It's February.
Yes,
Groundhog laughed at us the other day. We got
I
tons of
know.
snow, but it's all good. We're
Yes.
sitting here and we're doing our thing, and
That's why we have hot chocolate.
that's why I have hot chocolate. I've been drinking so
Yes.
much hot chocolate and tea. It's all good.
Mm-hmm.
Have your kids been out in the snow?
Oh yeah, they love it. And they run around with the dog and everything else. So just good, nice, wet mess all over the place.
Right. I know. At least it
But
isn't salty. I hate when it gets like all the salt and
yeah,
everything.
yeah.
So
But
pretty.
they love it. It's
That's
like, aren't you cold? Nope, nope, we love it. So,
I love it. I love it. So good. I know boys are so different from girls. Like when my kids were little, we had this big hill by our house. So literally,
uh-huh,
I would drive them to the hill. They would slide down. I drive my car to the bottom of the hill, pick them up, and drive them back to the top of the hill because I didn't want to get out of the car for one thing,
right.
and I wasn't about to walk up and down the hill. So my neighbors were like, "What are you doing?" But like that was the Camp Beverly Hills way of doing sledding. Stay warm for the mom, right?
Oh, wow.
Keep the hot chocolate thermos in the car. So I never got the car, but
That is funny.
that was a
I
win.
do get down and dirty with them. Like we have a big Nerf gun, you know,
Okay.
situation going in our house. And I don't mean like the little itty bitty Nerf handguns. No, we have like Nerf artillery in our
Okay.
house. So
I love it.
when I say they take it really seriously, they
They
take
do.
it really
They
seriously.
hit you
So
with it?
yes,
Oh
the face, so
my gosh. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
I mean, we're jumping behind couches. You would think you're watching SWAT.
I love it. I love it. But that's what
That's
they're
my
watching
house.
on TV. Thank God it's a Nerf ball, right? Oh my
Yeah.
goodness. Oh my goodness.
But
So
those things can hurt.
I believe it. Yeah, I know. I once went to a paintball party when Amanda was 11,
Hmm.
and it was pretty much all boys. There may be like three girls. I'm like, this is not fun. This is really
This
not
is
fun.
painful.
It's so painful. I'm like, I will never do this again. Oh my God. You know.
Exactly.
And thank God
Mm-mm-mm.
Amanda didn't like it either because like, we will never do this kind of birthday party
Right?
again.
Oh,
It's
my goodness.
designed for boys. But
Yes.
so tell me the brilliance that you're up to right now. I know
Oh,
it's
wow.
very amazing.
So, I decided to launch the Chrysalis Initiative that has been my mentoring and coaching and educational initiative for women with breast cancer. I launched it on my cancerversary, which was 2019, and was pretty much just partnering with other organizations in order to, come up with projects and programming and coaching based off of the population of um, people that they're engaged with. And then with the success of those many projects, I said, well, hey, I could do this on my own. Instead of like these one off, one and done projects, how about launching the Chrysalis Initiative as a formal nonprofit organization and really do this every day, and really scale up and ramp up what we've been doing and really growing the organization because just seeing how effective it is and that preliminary data that shows that this type of model is really filling in the gaps and reducing disparities. So we launched in October as an official nonprofit, working on the website right now, have received grant funding, pursuing more funding, pulling in more partners. So it is a full on nonprofit launch right now, but I know you know what I'm talking about.
Ooh, it's a lot. It's a lot.
Yes.
But you know what? We're doing the work that we have to do.
Yeah.
We
Hmm.
have to do this work. It is our purpose. And
Hmm.
I feel like I live my dream every day, every day, you know?
Yeah. I mean, it's really, really rewarding. Just thinking, well, if you think about the median survival of metastatic breast cancer, I'm still on my second line of treatment. 3 years later. And so,
Awesome. Blessings.
right. So this is my way of, you know, paying back, giving back, and sharing what I know. Right.
Right.
And just seeing that transformation. Usually, people, if they do know of me and know what I'm doing, a person that's referred to me is in crisis. Right. And
Yeah.
then seeing that turnaround and just really just checking off the boxes with the model that I created. And it's just like, okay, is this good? Is this good? Is this good? And it's really what I created just to make sure that I'm good, living with
Can you give an
empathy.
example? Can you give an example of like a patient that you've helped, or just so to give people a little more
Oh, wow.
understanding
So
of what you're
yeah, I
doing?
think the most interesting situation is when you have a Black woman and she goes to her doctor, and we're talking about like large, nationally renowned NCI, NCCN centers, where they have, in their mission statement and on all their social media and media that they're focused on reducing disparities, and they're really, you know, hitting it home that it's important to them. But it just so happens that that experience with that particular doctor, who I say is exhibiting implicit bias or provider bias, and is functioning as that gatekeeper, and is not giving access to that Black woman or even letting her know about the available resources to her that can keep her on that continuum of care, or letting or telling her if she has progression that there aren't any more treatment options available to her. And if she isn't familiar with Chrysalis, what does she do? Who does she call? Who does she go to?
Right.
A lot of times now, you get that paperwork, you call that helpline, but it's pretty distant, and it can be overwhelming to
Yeah.
understand, what do I do now? How do I set up that third opinion? How do I get in front of figuring out if I'm eligible for that clinical trial? How do I piece this all together? How do I explain this to my caregivers, if I even have caregivers as a Black woman, right?
Right.
Because we're usually the ones holding it
Right.
down.
We're the
Right,
caregiver in the household.
exactly. And so a lot of times we find that you just need that thought partner, right? Because I'm going through it. I'm living with breast cancer. Most of our other coaches are going through it too. You stay on the path, and you're going to run into those issues, but the biggest premise is every problem has a solution, right? So you don't have to shut down, you don't have to isolate, you don't have to say, you know what, it's just not doable. You know what, they want me to do this, they want me to now start a new chemo, I might lose my hair again, or I'm going to lose my hair for the first time, I'm
Right.
going to lose my job, the family's going to go bankrupt. It doesn't have to escalate that far, you know because when you think about my personal situation, husband has, he was as a two-time cancer survivor, three young children. I'm the primary breadwinner. Everyone's on my benefits, and I
Right.
have two parents with chronic illnesses. Who's my caregiver, right?
God.
Right. But I was still able to work full time. Not saying that that necessarily has to be what people do, but there are options. There are things that you could do. So a lot of times it's really just, instead of just printing out paper and giving them a folder or a binder to look at and do all this work, which is, you already have cancer and you
Right.
already had your
Right.
life right prior to cancer. Now it's a full-time job to figure out, um, now I got to chase down all these different resources to get my life together and get it structured so that I could stay on that path of having quality care, right? But it doesn't necessarily have to be where you have to muddle through or deal with this challenge on your own. So
Yeah.
that's what the Chrysalis Initiative does.
That's so awesome. That's so awesome. You're helping so many people. And it's
Yeah,
like, gosh, why do we have to do the work as the patient? Right.
thank you.
So, and especially when you don't know what you're doing,
Exactly.
and you're in a position to be able to do that. But so many of
Hmm.
our breasties
Yes.
come to us and they don't have a clue, and they're scared, and
Hmm.
they may not be educated. They don't have good health care. They don't even have health insurance,
Right.
and they don't
And
they
how do you
may not.
navigate that?
Right, right. And we
Hmm.
know, what's the number? 77.3% of Black moms are single
Hmm.
moms.
Yeah,
So what's her focus going to be, right? And then
exactly.
add cancer to that. Oh my goodness, right?
It's like a bomb just dropped in your house.
Right, right.
Hmm.
And we were scared for your kids, and so much to deal with. But so what you're doing is such a blessing, such a blessing. I'm very proud of you and very happy to be
Thank
in your
you.
first
And I mean,
imposter.
it's so needed. And that's what also as an advocate that I push forward to say, we can activate patients, we can empower them, but it's not on them to, and it's a trigger for me. We both had that same
Right,
trigger where it's like, well, if they just have the access,
right,
if
right.
they're just knowledgeable, if they're just educated more, then all is well.
Oh, as well.
No, 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 no.
Right,
So
right.
we are disrupting that.
We understand that.
We're done with that.
Yeah,
We're done with dying.
we're done with dying. We're
Yeah.
done with dying. So I don't know if you saw the stat that came out last week from JAMA Oncology. Did I tell you about this?
Yes.
The data says, this new data says that Black women have a relative risk of dying of breast cancer that's 71% higher than
Yes.
Black women.
Yes.
71%. Like, oh my
71%.
gosh.
Yes.
Like, and I don't want anybody to die of breast cancer, but at least Black women deserve mortality rate parity. Like,
Right. And then just think about that because, I think we're still in this area where industry wide, we're thinking, oh, it's poverty, right? It's poverty, it's lack of insurance,
right.
you know, that's the ticket.
They
That's
don't
the
take care of
solution.
themselves.
Right.
Right?
They're not paying attention, that lack of health literacy. So everybody, most of these, industry heads, the ones that are making the decisions where the money is being allocated, right? They're saying, we just need to, educate. We need to get them insurance, but when you
Right.
actually pull back the data, has nothing to do with that. So a lot of, we find that the most egregious disparities are in the Black women with the higher incomes.
Right.
Why it has nothing to do with lack of insurance, lack
Mhm.
of financial, support or, you know, economic
Right.
access has nothing to do with that. We're
Yeah.
talking about racism. We're
Racism.
talking about provider bias. And I do think that the disparities with COVID that
Mm.
are evident have made this conversation much easier. It's like, you see what's going on over there? You see what's happening over there with COVID? It's the same thing.
Same thing.
Breast cancer,
Same
same
thing.
thing. So
Same thing. I know one of
let
the best things about COVID is, all these health disparities are now
right,
on the table, and thank God we are, and so bring it. Let's bring it. Have the conversation.
right.
Get what
Have
we
that,
need.
and instead of us regurgitating the same
Right.
stuff, the same using the same dollars to do the same things and look at the same data and do the same studies. We've studied this to death.
Right.
I say this all the time.
Yeah.
I
We
took that information and said, this is what we need to, these are the plugs and gaps we need to fill in. And
yeah.
that's what we're doing. And I think even when I talk to funders, right? And I shared this with you where they're like, oh, it's so confusing. There's so many Black focused
Right.
organizations
Right.
working on disparities.
Like, why can't you guys do it together? Like, or what, and I said, well,
Right.
when those numbers go away,
Yeah,
we'll stop working. But right
exactly.
now,
And nobody ever says, oh, there's so many white breast cancer
I know,
organizations.
right?
I can't keep track. It's just so much.
I know.
So I just clearly, politely say, that we have, it's a multi-layered problem. We
Yeah.
have our different lanes and we're addressing it in different ways. And so, however you want to be impactful, whether it be in the research space like Metathriver, which I serve as
Right.
board president,
Right.
focused on, you know, figuring out what those disparities are, what those biological and research element related disparities contributors are when it comes to people of color, and then investing in that and also sharing with the research community and HCPs, healthcare professionals, and cancer about what that systemic racism and those contributing factors to disparities. That's our lane. Living Beyond Breast Cancer, I'm on their board of directors.
Right. Right. You have a lot of jobs, girl.
Focused on, amplifying Black women, focused on providing support to women, providing that information, community of support, having programming focused and targeted on that community. That's their lane.
Right.
You have what you have going on as far as just clinical trial information, Black data matters, focusing on Black genes,
Yeah.
having them own their information and records, and having more awareness and education about clinical trials, pulling partners together, right?
Yeah.
Tiger Lily Foundation,
Right.
focused on, bringing that to HCPs and researchers' attention about the systemic bias and having them engage with patients that have been impacted by
Right.
provider bias,
Right.
right? And then even just showing Black women and Brown women that
Right.
other Black women and Brown women have breast cancer, so they can see themselves and have that community of
Yeah.
support
I
and
mean,
have information on their specific challenges. And then you have For the Breast of Us, which is
right.
that community of support. Now, mine is a little different, where it's provider, students, pre-diagnosed, and patients. So if you think about the landscape and how this is such a multi-layered problem, you do have to have that comprehensive strategy in order to lay it all out. You can't just say, okay, it's going to be one note and we're just going to focus on this, because of all these different layers. But you have to have the accountability there in order to disrupt the racism.
Yeah. But also we all work together. Like we have
Yeah,
to work
we do.
together and support each other. So, like
We definitely do.
it's not like we're in these silos without each other. We're, we have our Breastie love, and we're like,
Yeah,
if I can do anything to help you, I
right.
will.
Oh, exactly. And
And
we're more powerful together.
we're more powerful together. And I think even pointing out to our funders how these are very specific, different
Hmm.
needs, and you should fund all of us. You know,
Right.
like you're funding
Exactly.
multiple white organizations, right? What's the
Right.
difference? So, because we all are doing a piece of this massive, massive
Hmm.
work.
Exactly.
And frankly, to me, there's no competition in what we do.
Absolutely not.
As
Yeah.
well, when you got 71% higher mortality rate, are you kidding?
Right.
Like,
You need all hands on deck.
we need all hands on deck, and we need all these other people to have their hands on our deck too. Like, we need
Right.
everybody to be working towards this goal. So,
And not more of the same, right?
not
Let's
more of
be
the same.
innovative.
Mhm.
Let's use evidence-based data and
Right,
solutions in order to really
right,
target the solutions and
right,
interventions that we're moving forward with, instead of just during Black History Month
right. Hello,
saying,
or October, or October.
right,
You know, it's we,
no,
we are like, I love Black History Month and I hate Black History Month.
right,
Marketing person. I remember like the old days when, oh, we can talk to the Black people in February. Like, because guess what? In March, are they Black still? It's pretty funny. But and it's like October. Breast cancer is all year long, 24/7.
I think Breast Cancer Month is a quarter
Right,
now. It's 3 months:
right.
September, October, November.
I know. Who are you? I mean, where we are all here all the time fighting this fight. So
Every day.
every day.
Yep.
So how can I help you, and how can we help you? Like, what do you want people to know to help you?
Well, I thank you for inviting me to talk about the Chrysalis Initiative. We are working on our website. We go live hopefully this month, with the
Okay.
website. And so just showcasing what we're doing, all of our partners, how you can help. Definitely, if you're a provider, we have grant funding that can support, implementing the program at your center that specifically targets, disparities, how to reduce them, what data should you be
Yeah.
looking at to assess what you're doing. You
Right.
think you got it going on. You're like, you know what? No racism here. We don't have any disparities here. But let's pull out the data and verify that, right?
Let's pull out
How do
the
you follow that up? How do you assess that you're actually being equitable in your care and that your outcomes, confirm that, right? And then, of course, coaching. If you know any um, women with breast cancer that could benefit from coaching, send them our way. If you know any women with breast cancer that, want to know how they can activate and be motivated to address racism and disparities in their specific area, or to how to really activate on their advocacy, send them our way. If you have a student that is, interested pursuing a career in cancer, right? Or maybe you just want them to think about pursuing a career in cancer, send them our way, because we have a bunch of different equity projects that students get to partake in with their participating schools. And we do speaking engagements for those pre-diagnosed Black women, for them to understand how
mm,
to assess their risk, how to have those conversations, how to, ask those questions about knowing their family history and getting screened for those particular markers or mutations that could increase their risk, and for them to be knowledgeable about that. So that's everything that we have going on. Definitely, please
girl.
donate. And we have some technology and resources that are also coming down the line that we have funding for. So that's what we're doing. So please, connect with us. We're on all of the social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Chrysalis Initiative. Follow us, support us, and donate.
Right, right. And we'll put the
No
donut
cost
link
to
in the,
patients.
we'll put the donut link in the post, okay, when we
Yes.
post. But yeah, so I'm so proud of you. I love what you're doing. I think it's great. We're gonna save some people. And
Yes.
my goal is, Belle, my oldest granddaughter is 3.5.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 10 years before she gets boobs and I can put
Yes.
myself out of a job. So
Right.
right.
I want to meet my grandkids. That's
Right.
why, I'm doing this for myself too.
I know you got to do this for yourself, and
Yes.
and that's why I have to work for you too,
Mm-hmm.
because
And I appreciate you.
we got to fight together, and we'll get there. We just have a lot of work to do and
Mm-hmm.
a lot of lives to save, and
Yes.
we need to make breast cancer go away, or
Or make it a chronic disease.
make it a chronic disease.
Yeah.
And the AIDS community did that 20 years
Yes.
ago, right? They went to pharma, they went to everybody, and Magic Johnson's still alive.
Yeah.
Right.
And you see, they
And
weren't just focused on
Right.
the blood test. They weren't just focused on the screening.
Right. It's so funny.
Okay, we see it.
And I was talking to a pharma partner today, and I was saying, they're trying to figure out how to get, higher than 3% of Black women in their clinical trials, and we're
Yeah.
talking about different stuff to do. And I said, okay, so what if you get 20% participation or whatever, and you find out, can you even tell me whether the drug worked on Black women?
Yeah.
And they're like, because guess what? Even though they're recruiting into the trials,
Yeah.
they're not necessarily tracking the data so they can find out whether the Black women survived or not. Like that's a whole nother
That's
layer.
why they need advocates at the table, Black advocates at the table involved with the design.
Right. So that's like you got to figure out that at the end of the day, can you tell if the Black woman died or not, or if it worked or not?
Right.
And they're like,
Oh, go
right?
figure.
We got a lot of work to do, but we're doing it.
We should look at that.
I know. What a concept, right? Well, I love you so much, and
I love you too.
And I know you're like working your butt off, and
Yes.
and being a mom. So, and you're going to be on the show next week. The doctor is in.
Yes.
Like, guess what I named the show? This episode, Metathriver MegaMoms.
Oh, okay. I could definitely talk about that.
Moms like you who are, who are metastatic, that are being moms and doing everything.
Yes.
So Superwoman
my babies
on, and how do we take a break from that cape sometimes?
Yeah. Self-care is not selfish.
Right.
Don't have to be Superwoman.
Right. You don't have to wear the cape.
Don't have to do it on your own.
You don't.
We got you.
We got you.
Yeah.
I love you, girl.
Love you too. Thank you.
Breastie love.
Bye.
Bye. Breastie love.
See ya.
See you. Bye. Mwah.
Mwah.
Mwah.